he does, we should say, and I mentioned the Innocence Project, we should say he does have an application this very moment, for clemency pending, winding its way through the Board of Pardons in Harrisburg, which is, from what I've learned a lot about that process, slow and a bit of. There's been a new governor, obviously, in the last year in Pennsylvania. It's a slow process. It's a 5-member Board of Pardons. I think for a conviction like Tyree's, it has to be a unanimous vote. 5 out of 5, not 3 out of 5, not 4 out of 5, unanimous, which includes the Attorney General, and they make a recommendation to the governor. So
there's a victim's advocate on there that's appointed.
I think a doctor.
There's in English here, there's basically several layers this has to go through at the highest levels.
Just to clarify, clemency, what that means?
Yes.
That just means when someone's saying, hey, can you suspend the rest of my sentence? I've served a long time. I've changed. They pretty much have to admit guilt. Even if they didn't do it, some people are saying, if this is the only way I can get out, okay, I'll take it on. I've changed. I've done wonderful things while I've been in prison. I've not been a problem. I've had no disciplinary issues. And the doctors and the psychologists say that I'm an individual that will have no problems in the community.
Right. And that's the tricky thing, because, again, putting yourself in the shoes of someone who's been sitting in a box for 26 years is impossible. I don't care who you are.
26 minutes.
And exactly. I haven't spent 2 days in the same room. You know what I mean? So I always try to check that at the door when I'm looking at extreme situations like this, which with the types of people I bring on this podcast, I'm constantly bringing on people that it's like, they can tell me about it, but I can't really understand it if I haven't done it, But selfishly, when I think about it, of course, I want to see this guy get fully exonerated. I want to see him be able to say, I'm innocent, I got nothing on my record.
Me too.
By the way, he also has things to come back to because, like we said, he has organizations that exist outside the prisons already. Right. So he has a purpose already to go to. He's just a great guy. In the meantime, whatever it would be to at least get him on the other side of the wall, we'll take that. And I understand, I know in Tyree's head, that's not how he thinks, and I would be the same way, I would imagine, if I were him. I'd want to be like, no, you need to clear my name completely, and we can try to do that. But I want to help however I can in my seat here, and with other people we get involved with this in making sure that at the very least we get something like a clemency on the table and realistically through.
Yeah.
I mean, he's maintained his innocence consistently.
For 26 years.
For 26 years, But as a human being, in over the last 5 years, and especially the last couple of years, maybe COVID has had a big impact on a lot of people. It's amazing how he keeps his head up. It's amazing that he isn't more downtrodden.
Agreed.
You'd think he would be, and maybe most of us, maybe any of us would be if we were ever, in that situation. But it's beginning it wears on him.
Yeah.
Sure.
And some days are definitely better than others, where he's just and he'll just flat out. I mean, put yourself in our shoes or anyone's shoes, your shoes, when someone says to you, Dave, I'm going to die in here. Literally, I will die and be taken out of this prison, in a coffin, unless we find some way, to give me some freedom. And I can hang up the phone, often, a 15-minute phone call that abruptly ends in the middle of a sentence, or a Zoom session that we can get for 45 minutes, which abruptly ends at minute 45. But I can hang up the phone or finish a Zoom and go back to my work of the day, my normal job, my day job, or whatever other issues. But like you said, you try to check it at the door. It's hard to do. I can never completely put myself in his position, and some days he has frustration. But despite all of that, and we should definitely talk about him as a person and his organizations. It's kind of an amazing, human story.
Yes,
has to be
of resilience, and it's got to mean something that somebody can maintain that. And he's become, he's a mentor to others. There are people that I have met who are now outside, young guys who looked to him in their time with him as as a mentor.
I've talked to him now about 10 times, I want to say. So I've talked to him on Zoom, I've talked to him on the phone, and I now recognize the number, the 484, when it comes through, and I know what it is now. And it's hard to explain, but I get like this weird sensation, because then I hop on with him, we have a great 15-minute call, and then I hang up, and just like you said, Dave, I go about my day after that. But there's this like feeling I get where it puts my life in perspective a bit, because I realize like how much he values having 15 minutes to talk with me. I mean, the guy fucking thanks me for saying the sky was up. You know what I mean? Like he's just the nicest person ever. And I'm like, Tyree, you don't have to do that. Like, but he's an intelligent dude who has so many thoughts about the other people who are in there. Like he's not just worried about his own case. He's constantly talking to me about the things he's doing for the other guys. That's probably been 75% of the conversations I've had with him. And to keep that type of a positive attitude, as you just said, Dave, is remarkable. I mean,
Plus,
it's just remarkable.
I mean, he literally is writing programs to combat recidivism, programs to be implemented out here in the community. I mean, reduction of violence, gun violence. He's basically doing the work that community groups, and I mean, he's championed a nonprofit from within the walls, and he only can do that with the support of people outside. But it's amazing, I think it gives him hope, and it gives him.
Yes.
He needs that. If it were, I think if it weren't there, it would be filled with despair.
It's that basic humanity, right? Yeah. He still is holding on to it, even though no one has it for him. I mean, the way he's gone through this system and what happened to him, no one had any decency for who he was as a human. He wasn't valued whatsoever. And I mean, from the system actors to the people that were supposed to be his quote-unquote friends. I don't see how he can have that out. I mean, I get pissed when I'm cut off on the road. Like, I mean, seriously, I had a whole bad day just, navigating traffic. And when you just talk about how he can stay positive, knowing he's wrongfully accused, I don't even know how old you are, but he's probably been in there as long as you've been living.
Yeah.
Right? 26 years. Mm-hmm. I don't know if that's your age or not, but you look
older.
But in any event, I would give up. I know it.
I think I might too.
I don't have that will.
I don't. Again, like I'm always careful with if I were blank, then I would blank, because you don't know till you do it. But with a high degree of probability, if I knew I were innocent of something, and I were stuck there and no one was helping me, and this went on for years and years and years, I would lose the will to live.
Me too.
I mean, I would just there's nothing to hope for. But this guy has not done that. And I was talking with a prison guard recently, not on the podcast, but on the side. And he worked in a high security, very maximum security prison for about 10 years. And this guy's stories of humanity were about as visceral and incredible of a memory as I've ever heard. I mean, he viewed the prisoners as human beings.
Good.
Which, let's be honest, there's a lot of stereotypes where guards don't really do that. And so this guy was different. And I didn't put words in his mouth, but it was almost like when he was talking about some of them, it was like, I don't know if he used the word my friend so-and-so, but he might as well have done that, which was very interesting to me. But one of the things he said is that everyone's innocent when they come into prison, right? Everyone. Oh, I didn't do this, man. Nothing happened, whatever. He said there's something about the monotony of the human spirit, especially when you know things in your head maybe that aren't so good about yourself, where maybe it's a year, sometimes it's 2, at worst it's 3, where you're saying that, but eventually you stop saying that. Even if you don't come out with the words, I'm guilty, you stop trying to get in touch with lawyers, you stop sitting in the library trying to work on cases. You're in here for something you did. He recognized that even at that maximum security prison, though, there was a percentage of people, and it wasn't 1%, it wasn't 2%, it was more than that, who were completely innocent of what they did. And the guys who were actually completely innocent, one of the main tells he had was that they never stopped saying they were innocent and working on their case. And so when I hear a case like this, and you talk about a guy since he was 19 years old, he has now spent more than twice more than double his life. Or how do I say that
Yeah,
right? He was
double his
19,
life.
now he's like 45, 46.
Yeah.
So he spent 26 years in there. He went in when he was 19, more than being on the outside. And he is still in there working on his case every day. And so doing something like this is, you know, it's like the least I can do. Thank you for watching the video, guys. Please hit that subscribe button and check out this clip's full podcast episode by clicking here or in the description below.